When Yizef looked at Vanoora, the edges of his smile would lift. The creases of his eyes would soften, and she could see the warm flow release his shoulders gently. The blood in their veins flowed from different paths, but for many years she has called him father. And yet, as he stood distantly in the doorway, his shoulders tensed and his expression careful before he wearily came into the room. The edge of the bed is soaked with cold water, and Vanoora stares down at her frigid hands. Slowly an icy layer forms over the dusty blue of her skin. Her palms are raw and wrinkled from her attempt to thaw herself in the bath. Though no traces remained, she could still see the sopping red liquid staining her skin. A sickly purple union of warms and darks marred upon her flesh. Not a single drop of it her own. I heard what happened. Yizef's voice pulls Vanoora's gaze away from the moments still fresh in her mind. 𝐻𝑒𝓁𝓁 was my friend, and now he's gone. We couldn't protect him. We failed him. Yizef sits beside her, his motions rigid as he places a hand on her own. I'm so sorry, my love. But you'll see, in time. Well, a life of adventuring can be dangerous and costly. You'll see that this is all for your own good. Vanoora looks up at him, his familiar words causing her stomach to turn, but his eyes fixed to the floor as he speaks. She notices his grasp begin to quake and pulls her hand from his own. She wraps her arms around herself suddenly. There is something wrong with me, Father. The words strain, and Yizef frantically looks over Vanoora, his true concern undisguisable. Finally, he meets her gaze as frozen tears trickle down her cheeks. You and the other teachers say that this is good for me, but this does not feel good for me. I trust you, Father, but my heart hurts. There must be a reason that I cannot understand why this is good. I may not be human, but this does not feel humane. To let students die when you could have saved them. Love, someday you'll see. Yizef's words feel forced, and his teeth grit against themselves. Vanoora interrupts him. Are we not here to learn how to defend ourselves? This school prepares us for a life of adventuring, so why force us to defend ourselves when we do not know how? And when the school is under attack, no less. Where were you? It was for your own good, Yizef shouts, but he cannot stop. It was for your own good. It was for your own good. His words become like a chant as Yizef grips his legs tightly, staring wildly at the corner of the room. Father, what's wrong? Looking down, Vanoora notices his hands mimicking a writing motion on his leg. Jumping up, she rummages through her dresser, grabbing a small note and a charcoal pencil. Returning to him, Yizef takes the pencil into his hand. As he begins to write, red drips down onto the note and on his pants. His nose is pouring blood as the words of the headmaster's name forms on the paper. Not Zunnen. Yizef gasps for air as he finishes writing. his inhales hitching from the weight of some unseen force. Vanoora reads the words again and again, trying to make sense of them. But when she goes to ask Yizef, he pulls her into an embrace. With shaking arms, he hugs her closely. The familiar scent of rosin wraps itself around Vanoora. She feels the warmth of tears drip onto her shoulder, resting gently before freezing upon her skin. It's strained, but Yizef is hugging her. Her father is hugging her. With every moment, she can feel his prayers, his fear, his pleas for help. When he stands, Vanoora can see the smeared blood below his nose. The force that seemed to grasp him, loosening as he turns away from her. As he paused in the doorway, Yizef spoke. I think I'll be heading to bed for the night. You should turn in as well. Classes resume early in the morning. Then he disappears deeper into the house. Vanoora clutches the paper tightly. The mix of blood and ink is already drying in her grasp. The only hope of saving her father rests in her hands. She leaves to find what's left of her party before it's too late.